All right. Wesley, welcome to the Steam Zone. Congratulations. You are a published author, sir. That's got to feel good.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Big fan of what you guys do. And yeah, it was an exciting past couple of weeks between launching a book and then AFA this week.
Yeah. Busy weeks indeed. All right. Let's get into the book. Tell us what it is and why you did it.
Sure. So it was definitely my first time writing a book. And so that's why it took me about 2 years because I was trying to learn how to write a book while writing a book. And that's not the best way to do it for sure. But working in Army acquisition while I was still a Greek shooter, and then being in the defense industry for a while, I've got a shelf full of books about adjacent and around the industry and the topics. There's some great history like Freedom's Forge, quote and talk about. And then you've got the other end of the spectrum of how-to guides, like BD 360 as a how-to, and there's kind of the Gov Connors that are like how to win government contracts in 30 days or less kind of thing. And so, yeah, I was trying to straddle that and cover the range of what is this industry? Why is it the way it is? A lot of people have opinions right now. Everyone has their hot take on what's wrong in acquisition and what needs to be fixed. And so just trying to study a little bit that topic myself and then offer a little bit of a insiders or really an introduction guide to folks.
It's pretty neat. At what point did you, what other things did you consider other than a book? Were there other channels? Did you consider making a movie, like starting a podcast, like anybody? What were the other options that you had?
First off, the best movie about the defense industry already exists. It's called Pentagon Wars. And so most
That is
people
classic.
have watched that one. I'm a big consumer of the podcast. I listen to a lot of stuff that you're on and there's some great podcasts popping up about the industry and about dual use technologies and things like that. So I follow a lot. Yeah. Thought about that briefly about launching a podcast, but then it was, hey, just another voice out there. And just turned into kind of long form articles as I got angry and typed. And then was able to turn that into the idea, hey, maybe I can actually write a book.
It's pretty neat. Do you have a copy there with you? Hold
Sure
that up
do.
for
Yep.
us. Show it off, man. There it
Up
is.
here is
Buying power.
Yep,
Love it.
available on Amazon, and worked with a publisher. Great, and able to really help me craft it into one narrative.
What do you think what did you learn through the process of writing, either about the subject matter or about the writing process itself? What's something that stood out to you that you took away from it?
I think one of the biggest takeaways is that there's nothing new under the sun. Reading like old stuff from like Jock Gansler, and there's acquisition analysis and reform in the 1960s and the 1970s. It's never been really done well, arguably, or there's been pockets of success. You look at back, there's letters from General Washington to his quartermasters saying, you're buying the wrong stuff. It's showing up late. It's broken. It's not working. To the idea that there was like this golden era where we did it perfectly in defense acquisition, and then we're just stepping off the path. I think that's incorrect. Like each generation, each era has a new technology to deal with. Now we're talking about drones and things like that, but there's been an upsetting technology in every era.
Yeah, that's kind of, I think that's kind of prescient, and it's honestly it's refreshing because I was at a defense conference earlier today. It's a lot of this era of war is different. There's always a new technology, but fundamentally, like the human capital is what fights and wins and wars. What do you think? Maybe give us like the thesis of the book. What is the message that you wanted to convey to folks that inspired you to write in the first place?
Sure. I think some of the big takeaway is the American approach and the current dynamic we have is unique in the way that we've got our biggest arms design and manufacturing companies are in the S&P 500. So that's not quite the same compared to a lot of other countries. And then the dynamic of what is GOCO and what is an inherent organic base or that a country maintains versus the idea now where some people say we're too privatized, some people say we're not. So I try to do a little bit of analysis of how it's happened in defense industry has grown up in other countries. There's a little bit of a comparison. Yeah, but I think my thesis is that buying power is difficult. It is business on hard mode, right? Where your customer gets to write the rules that you have to live by. And it's a constant like collision of policy, laws, regulations. You've got 535 stakeholders between Congress and Senate that can change your corporate outlook very quickly. I just saw it Tuesday afternoon, and that's a big dynamic that I don't think enough people outside the industry can fully appreciate yet, and throwing my statements out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And so give us a sense of on when you look out at the industry as it stands today, what's one thing that industry needs to understand and one about government and one thing that government needs to understand about industry that you think people get wrong?
Well, that's a tough one. That's a big question right there. One thing that is, a challenge for the industry across the board right now. This new administration is definitely upsetting some apple carts, right? Changing a far rewrite, a lot of policy changes. That goes everything from the geopolitical dynamics all the way down to the budget and things like that. So this administration is definitely not a business as usual. Just, hey, copy what you did last year and paste it this year. And that's a huge challenge for the industry to try to understand and how to adapt to. And on the government side, I think they're reacting to plenty of stuff, again, with trying to change the rules while the process is happening. From OTAs, CSOs, a lot of the new mechanism are new. I've got my air quotes up here, but it's a hard process to get something from an idea on a whiteboard at a requirements writing house from the warfighter to a industrial scale capacity that's churning them out by the lot. That's a difficult undertaking, and I think people unfairly compare it internally or sometimes to like the automotive industry and say, hey, Ford can make this many cars a month. Why can't the DoD churn out that many cruise missiles a month? And I think that's a drastic oversimplification. And there's not nearly as many parallels as someone outside the industry would think.
Absolutely. I'm sure it's just packed with insight. I'm looking forward to reading it. Wesley, plug it. Where can folks go to pick up a copy?
Sure. Yeah. So Buying Power, the Business of Defense in America. You can get it on Amazon right now. Soon it will be on Kindle as an ebook. And then we'll see about making an audiobook at some point. That would be really fun to do, but that hasn't been booked yet. But yeah.
Nice. Hey, congrats again, man. I know that's a labor of love and that's a hard thing to do, to stick with it. Appreciate you supporting the industry with your knowledge and insight. And thanks for stopping by the Steam Zone.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, and looking forward to game day.
All right. So that was fun with Wesley. Ben, I'm getting you a copy. We're gonna book club that thing in the Steam
Does
Zone next
Audible
week.
count these days as reading? That's something we need to leave up for a poll for the fans. When I say I'm reading a book and I'm listening to it on Audible, does that count?
That's a podcast, man. That sounds like a podcast.
So is everything a podcast now?
I don't know. People keep telling me all I do is podcasts. Like I don't think I think I have one.
Can
I
I
have one
early
podcast.
decision apply to YC with a podcast?
You know what?
Steam Zone
Maybe we
apply
should
early
start that.
decision to Y Combinator. Vote in the comments.
Podcast you, baby. Podcast University.